If you're considering Thinkific for continuing education, the biggest question is whether it actually supports and meets CE requirements. And the answer is, it depends. In this video, I'll break down the most common CE requirements, show you where Thinkific can meet those requirements, and where there are some limitations and some workarounds that people use to navigate these challenges. I'm going to go over some common CE requirements that are platform agnostic. I want to share this with you because platforms are there as a tool to host, support, and help you track reporting and requirement needs without really getting into the nitty-gritty of regulations and legal advice. Before going further, it is important to understand that in most CE contexts, the responsibility doesn't stop at the learner. It extends to the training provider. Across many states and professions, accrediting bodies place specific obligations on approved CE providers. You are responsible for the reporting, tracking, delivery, and the content that you are providing to someone to maintain licensure, providing the requirements and documentation, and figuring out the platform itself. While details vary between platform, the patterns are consistent. In general, CE providers are expected to ensure courses meet approved content and format requirements, track and document learner completion, issue an official certificate of completion once the requirements of the course and training are met, include required information on that certificate, such as 1, course title, 2, credit hours, 3, provider details, accrediting body association, and completion date. Some people have also added an expiration date because certificates do have a window of expiration depending on the accrediting body. Also require you to retain records for a defined period of time in case of audits or reviews. And from my experiences working with clients, those records can vary from either digital or physical, and sometimes both. Let's look at some general requirements. For example, in California, approved CE providers typically are required to issue certificates that clearly document the credit hours earned and retain completion records for multiple years. In New York, approved providers are often responsible not just for issuing completion documentation, but also for maintaining attendance and course records that can be reviewed by the licensure board. And in Florida, providers generally must be approved in advance and issue certificates that include a valid provider number and course information. These specific rules will vary, and they come directly from your accrediting body association. Choosing the right platform to host the training and deliver the training for your continuing education business is key, because you want to find a platform that not only hosts and delivers the course, but also helps you maintain records and issue certificate completion requirements. With that in mind, let's review and continue looking at how CE requirements tend to show up using the 3 big states that I mentioned earlier. Remember, these are only meant to show you examples of common patterns, and this is not to be taken as legal advice. Always verify your CE requirements with your accrediting body association, because the requirements will vary depending on profession, state, and association. Let's look at California as an example. California accrediting bodies are often known for stricter oversight and documentation. There's usually a strong emphasis on clear completion tracking, assessments or confirmations of participation, verifiable certificates, record retention in case of audits. Now, if you are considering using Thinkific, this means that completion certificates and reporting requirements need to be set up intentionally and automatically, so that you are not manually extracting this data every time your accrediting body or association wants to review. Let's look at New York. The CE requirements typically are very clearly defined and slightly different. The accrediting bodies in this state usually focus on consistency. They want to know that the learners meet and have met the defined criteria before a credit hours are issued. In order to decide whether Thinkific is for you, you want to check all the details around completion rules, assessment rates, pass, fail quizzes, how many retakes, and that the certificates are configured easily and automatically so that you do not have to manually issue certificates every time a student completes a training. Remember, the key is to know what the requirements from your accrediting body association is, and also how granular the data that they're looking for is required. One example I give you is with completion rates. What does that look like? Do they want to see that 90% of students pass the course? Does that include quizzes and exams? Does that also include any assignments, and how are those graded? So there's a lot of nuances and details that need to be verified with your accrediting body before you go ahead and choose any platform. Florida represents high volume CE environments, particularly in healthcare and professional licensing. Verifying that number at scale and maintaining accurate and detailed records, either digitally and or physically, depending on your association. Some may require both, and some may just require one, but have a specific process for how you maintain those records, a Dropbox or a PDF. If you choose to use Thinkific, make sure you know how to set up these specific reports, what kind of reports are available, and if there are some advanced reports that you may need that may not be natively inside Thinkific, but that you can set up using some automations with Zapier. Across all 3 states, it is important to remember some key patterns. Records for some accrediting bodies may need analytics beyond just the video was watched, and that means like showing data that is more granular. If you compare Thinkific to platforms like Docebo or Talent LMS, it is much more affordable. At a subscription cost, if you're on like the Grow plan at $99 a month, it is much more cost effective, and there's also no limit on the number of courses. There's no limit on the number of courses and or students that you can enroll. Whereas other platforms like Talent LMS have a similar subscription pricing at a much higher ticket price, and there are limits with enrollments and not as user-friendly as Thinkific. Another reason why I think Thinkific is much more advantageous than other large enterprise LMS platforms for hosting and delivering CE trainings is because they offer a lot of granular data than they have before. There is engagement dashboard, so that is all focused on student engagement, how many videos were watched, how much percentage was watched, how many hours of watch time there has been in the course, how many retakes of the courses, how long they've spent in the course. There's also lesson and course completion tracking, whether the student has completed the lesson and the course based on these advanced analytics. Now, one of the things I tell clients is that in Thinkific, the complete and continue button is one of those challenges, because a student can watch a video for 10 minutes and skip through the rest of it because they think they know the rest of the material, and they'll just click on complete and continue to move on to the next lesson. The other challenge is there may be very specific reporting expectations like data. The example that I gave earlier about the complete and continue button inside Thinkific for a video lesson. A student has not fully completed watching that video, but they've clicked on the button. It will show that the student completed the lesson even though they didn't finish watching the video. And one thing that can help is using SCORM compliant lessons. SCORM is an additional layer of tracking. So if you use a SCORM content builder such as Storyline or Articulate or Captivate, they have an additional layer of tracking that can help give you granular data on student completion of lessons. This doesn't mean that Thinkific is not a great solution. It just means that you need to be deliberate about what you need and what you want set up inside Thinkific, and whether you need any third-party integrations and how much that will cost. Ultimately, from a price point, Thinkific is much more affordable and easy to use compared to other enterprise platforms. If you're considering Thinkific for your continuing education program, make sure you confirm those specific requirements directly with your accrediting body. This video is designed to help you understand the common patterns and what to look for in a platform, and it doesn't replace official guidance. If you want to explore Thinkific, I've linked an affiliate link below where you can try Thinkific for a month. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to let me know. I'll talk to you soon.